Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hello, Attorney General Garland. I thank you for being here today. I thank 115,000 members of the Department of Justice for your faithful service. And I am sorry for the regrettable conversations that are going on. I've served on this committee for the better part of 6 years. I begged to be on this committee when I ran. There was so much I wanted to work on, like focusing on gun violence, like focusing on the opioid poisoning epidemic, and so many other things having to do with the protection of civil rights and the rule of law. And yet what we've observed in this committee in hearing after hearing after hearing, sadly, is misinformation, disinformation, very pointedly with the purpose of tearing down America's faith in our institutions. This is one such hearing. There are members on this committee who would rather tear down the faith in the independence of the Department of Justice than say that one man is responsible for his behaviors and is being held to account, both civilly and now criminally. Mr. Trump's behaviors are the reasons they are railing and they are upset. He's been found guilty of fraud. He's been convicted on 34 felony counts. And it would be okay if it weren't so dangerous. That's what worries me. It is so dangerous what is going on. So let's be clear. One of the reasons that you're here today is to say somehow the Department of Justice had something to do with the Manhattan District Attorney bringing the suit and a jury of 12 citizen strangers listening to the evidence, hearing from talented prosecutors and defense attorneys and the judge, and they came back with the clarity of 34 convictions for a former president and a presidential nominee. What role did your department have in that prosecution?
That prosecution was determined by the Manhattan District Attorney, which does not report to us, is not controlled by us, and operates completely independent of the Department of Justice.
Thank you. I also want to respond to a few other dangerous statements. Chairman Jordan said a kangaroo court, that's quoting, convicted President Trump. He's the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. Speaker Johnson's claimed that Democrats cheered this purely political exercise, and we heard him in an interview on Fox saying the Supreme Court should break up the conviction, overturn the conviction, and he knows many of the justices personally. Mr. Trump pities himself as a so-called political prisoner. These statements are false, and they are aimed to mislead, they are aimed to inflame, they are dangerous. The nominee is a convicted felon, or the would-be nominee is a convicted felon. What happened is he was guilty of an unlawful conspiracy to win the 2016 election by falsifying records to cover a tryst with a porn star in the days before the 2016 election. I'm grateful our institution stood up. I'm grateful to that set of jurors who walked in as strangers and citizens and listened to the evidence and put the law attached to it. But I'm really deeply concerned that our institutions are under attack. Mr. Garland, you talked about in your written testimony the role of the Department of Justice in upholding the rule of law. Can you speak to that a little more?
So I have devoted my entire career to ensuring that the rule of law is the rule that the Justice Department applies and that the courts apply, that we follow the precedents, that we treat like cases alike, that we do not have enemies or friends, that we do not pay attention to the political parties or the wealth or the power or the influence of the people that we are investigating, that we follow the facts and the law. This is what distinguishes this country from our adversaries. And an attack on the rule of law tears down people's confidence in the basic fundamental element of our democracy, that all people will be treated equal. And I intend to continue to protect the rule of law, to protect the 115,000 career employees of my department, to make sure that they can continue to go about their job, which is to do the right thing every day and not to be distracted by outside influences, political or otherwise.
I thank you, Mr. Attorney General, and I call upon those...
Gentlelady's time.
I want to just mention one other thing.
Quickly.
I'm fearful for the appalling silence of good people on this committee.
Okay.
We've heard enough.
Gentlelady's time has expired. Mr. Attorney General, we understand you want to break it. Can we do one more 5 minutes and then we'll take a little